Life in Accounting, the Where Accountants Go podcast. Life in Accounting is the podcast for everyday heroes like you, working in the accounting profession. Are you ready to hear from accounting influencers, thought leaders, visionaries, and other professionals leading change in the accounting world? Then stay tuned for Mark Goldman, a CPA, the owner of Where Accountants Go, and your host. Welcome to Life in Accounting.
Hello everyone, I'm Mark Goldman, a CPA and your host for Life in Accounting, a podcast production of WhereAccountantsGo.com. I'm doing this week's episode a little differently. If you have less time this week, do I have a deal for you? This week, I don't have a guest coming on the show because I wanted to take some time out for just two relatively quick items, and I wanted to handle it personally this week. I can't believe it, but this episode is number 100. Yes, number 100. We've been recording for about 2 years now, and we've recorded and produced 100 unique weekly episodes in the 2 years since starting the program. And I don't know what to say other than, honestly, it has been a blast. It has been a lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoy it. And thank you. Because without listeners, without people enjoying the program, without a weekly audience, obviously this wouldn't be quite as much fun as it is. As of the time that I'm recording this, I'm recording it right at the end of August 2018, and it's going to end up airing towards the end of September. We're getting around 600 to 700 downloads for each episode in the first 30 days or so. And then as they get older, a lot of the episodes hit the 1,000 download mark each. And honestly, I don't know much about podcast marketing or what level of downloads, makes for a, quote, good show. But from the research I have done and from what I hear, obviously the big shows like Accounting Today or NPR, they get thousands and thousands of downloads. But the median for podcast shows is somewhere around 250 downloads per episode. So for 700 plus people to feel like this little show gives them enough education or entertainment to download each week, I am extremely humbled. When you launch a podcast, you have absolutely no idea how it's going to end up working. And so I'm just really honored and humbled that this has worked out the way it has. It really is a blessing, and it makes me just enjoy it that much better to know that it's being heard out there in the world. So thank you so much. Also, I want to thank the guest, and yes, the guest specifically, because we couldn't do 100 episodes if 100 or so guests hadn't said yes and shared their, hour plus of time to tell me and to tell you their stories. And although we obviously have a specific format for our shows, I surprise them sometimes with follow-up questions that you can tell they're not expecting. And I have yet to have any guest, absolutely any guest, sugarcoat any answers. It's really amazing about how transparent and open everyone has been with me. And that's what makes for a good story or a good podcast, if you will. It really has been wonderful how open all our guests have been. So thank you to all the guests out there. And thank you to everyone listening to the show as well, audience and guests alike, because without everyone, both sides, basically, it would just be me talking to myself each week, and that's not too exciting for sure. So I couldn't do it without you, and I really appreciate you all. I do have one other item that I wanted to cover in this episode, and that's, drum roll, I've got a book coming out. Actually, it's coming out this week, the week that this will be aired in late September. In fact, as I'm recording this, I'm a little nervous about it because everything is set to launch the day this podcast is scheduled to come out. So if you're listening to this episode and you can't find the book yet on Amazon, well, then that's how the wide world of podcasting works and the internet, clashing a little bit, because it should be out there by now. If not, then wait a couple days. I'm sure it will be listed on Amazon. However, I do anticipate that, everything is going to work out well because everything's looking good. So as you're listening to this, you should be able to find the book on Amazon, both in Kindle version and paperback version, under the title 49 Tips for a Successful Accounting Career. Once again, that's 49 Tips for a Successful Accounting Career. In it, basically, I summarized many of the core tips that I've come across in the 100 episodes of Life in Accounting and all those interviews, plus the advice and experiences I've gained in my own accounting employment career for over 20 years now or so. Basically, it's a guide containing all the topics I've collected from all the super successful accountants that I've been able to speak with through both the podcast and through other outlets over the years. And I hope you find some truth in it for yourself. I certainly did as I was doing those interviews. We're going to launch it on the whereaccountantsgo.com website as well. But we've got a few other changes we need to make to that site. So that's likely going to be a few weeks. So if you're listening to this right at the release date, well, then the website changes haven't happened yet, but the book should be on Amazon. However, if you're listening to this in November 2018, December 2018, or much, much later, you can find it on Amazon, and you can also find it on our home website at whereaccountantsgo.com. Once again, that's www.whereaccountantsgo.com. If you're looking to grow your own accounting career, I hope you choose to check out the book, and maybe you'll find some useful truth in there for yourself as well. I wrote it in hopes of sincerely helping individuals through some of the difficult career choices that we all have to make as we look to continue to grow. Thank you again. I really appreciate that everyone listens in every week. We crossed the 60,000 download mark several weeks ago at this point, and it just continues to grow. And every week when I look at those numbers, it's surreal. I can't believe it. Thank you. Thank you so much. If you are listening to the show for the first time, first of all, thank you again, like I mentioned. But secondly, don't worry. You don't have to listen solely to me each week. This was a unique episode with just Mark talking. I'm going to be back next week with another intriguing guest that is willing to share their deepest insights on their accounting career and therefore accounting careers in general with you so that you can gain from their experience. Once again, if you're so inclined, please do check out my new book titled 49 Tips for a Successful Accounting Career. And that is all for this episode of Life in Accounting. Once again, a podcast production of whereaccountantsgo.com. We will see everyone next week. Thank you so much for joining us. There's more to come.